Today, I want to share something with you that I've navigated through a lot over the past decade and a half of my healing journey. And it's honestly something no one escapes because it's simply a part of the human experience. Hi, it's Amie Barsky here, and welcome back to another episode of the I Come First podcast. As always, here to keep it real. And what I want to share with you today could help you tremendously when it comes to why and when you might be feeling frustrated with life, stuck, burnt out, and in overwhelm. The thing I'm talking about that no one escapes is what's known in the personal development world as limiting beliefs. Let's start with, well, what is a limiting belief? Limiting beliefs are negative thoughts and assumptions about yourself, about the world, and about other people. And these thoughts can negatively impact your life. I also like to call them BS. It's a belief system that is literally BS. And these can be unconscious thoughts that ruminate over and over and over again, and then become something that you believe to actually be true about yourself. And again, it's all BS. These limiting beliefs act as defense mechanisms to protect you from failure, to protect you from disappointment. And some of those examples might sound something like this: I'm not good enough, or I'm not successful enough. It could also sound something like, I don't have enough experience, or you know what, I'm too old to start a new career. And another common one for women is, oh, I can't start dating again until I lose weight. Almost always it starts with something like, I'm too, fill in the blank with whatever that limiting belief might be. And these are often caused by past trauma, past experiences. They're often caused also by simple comments from other people or values and beliefs that were influenced by your own family and friends. It can also come from messaging in the news, social media, and pressure from society's, in my opinion, often impossible standards that we are trying to live by. Limiting beliefs can lead into negative emotions like anxiety, imposter syndrome, overwhelm, shame, doubt, things like that. And most of the time, these limiting beliefs actually prevent you from achieving the dreams that you desire in your career. They prevent you from developing healthy and loving long term relationships. They also prevent you from enjoying life, like feeling like you are thriving and energized and excited about life. Now, today, I'm going to share with you a personal story about a limiting belief that I've been working through over the past, let's say, 7 years or so. And honestly, it still creeps in from time to time because it's something that was programmed into my mind for decades of my life. So I simply get to work through it when it shows up. And the truth is, it's been creeping in a lot lately in my business and in this podcast. Like literally, right here, right now, I am living one of my dreams. I have a podcast. I get to share on this platform with you all kinds of beautiful things. And sometimes this limiting belief, it rears its ugly head and it's trying to sabotage me. What I really want you to know, if you listen to this and it resonates with you, please reach out to me through Instagram. It's probably the easiest way. Please get involved in what I'm doing because it's never going to be the perfect time to make changes in your life. It's just not. You're going to keep waiting and waiting and waiting, and it's not going to happen. Honestly, the time is now. You are the leader of your life. Start living the life you say you want by taking your power back from these limiting beliefs that have been blocking you. All right, so it's story time. Ready? I grew up in a very tiny town called Acco in a very small part of southern New Jersey. Now, I moved there when I was about, I think, 3 years old. I was born in Philly, and then we moved to New Jersey. Now, my mom, she was a very book smart woman. She was a straight A student her whole life. And honestly, she expected me to follow in her footsteps. These were big shoes to fill, in my opinion. Now, I attended 12 years of Catholic school, And the first 8 years were in a very small elementary school in Acco, the cutest little town in New Jersey. Let me paint you a picture of the school real quick so you can understand like how small the school was. It was first grade through eighth grade, one classroom of each grade, no more than 30 kids per class, and only one teacher per grade who taught all the subjects. Like literally, the same teacher taught me reading and writing and math and science and religion and history, right? Every time I shifted to the next school year, you had that teacher for every subject. It was wild. And that pretty much meant that you were in your seat all day long, like all day long until lunch or recess. Needless to say, that was a lot of sitting for someone like myself, who still to this day at 51 years old has a hell of a lot of energy. And so I was not getting the grades that my mother wanted me to get. And I did not learn the same way that other kids learned. So when I was in third grade, I took an assessment test for reading, writing, and comprehension. And my skills were not up to par to what third graders' scores should be, quote unquote. And it was decided that my grades might have a chance of improving if I started going to what they called back then special needs or support classes. Now, please keep in mind, this was in the late 70s. So, special needs was a much different definition than what it is today. And I remember the day I started attending these special classes. The classes were outside of the regular classroom where all the regular kids were learning, like literally way outside. So imagine a giant asphalt parking lot, let's say 30 yards wide and 50 yards long. This asphalt parking lot also doubled for our lunchtime playground. And on one side of the parking lot was our school, and on the other side of the parking lot was where the special classes were. The complete opposite side, right? And so these special classes were held in a trailer, something you'd see as a temporary office on a construction site, like literally a trailer. So now back in the 70s, people also used the word retarded. And the kids came up with a very cruel nickname for the small trailers on wheels. They called it the tart cart. So now it's time for me to attend these special classes and to get from the tart cart to school classroom and back and forth. I had to walk way across this black slab of asphalt slash playground. And my 8-year-old mind felt like that 30 yards of walking to the tart cart seemed like a million miles long. My 8-year-old mind was mortified. I felt that everyone was staring at me. Now, I didn't know this for certain, but because I didn't have the courage to actually look back and check, I just assumed in my wild and vivid imagination that they were all watching me, judging me, laughing at me, pointing the finger and shouting the words, "Oh my gosh, look at Amie. She's gone to the tart cart. She's so stupid. She's got to go to the tart cart." Like this was the story I made up in my mind. And so this daily walk of shame to the tart cart was crushing me inside. I can't tell you how many days I wished I was invisible. I'd cross my arms, I'd lower my head, I'd hide my face, and I'd walk across to the tart cart, hoping and praying that no one would even notice me. And every day I took this walk of shame, knowing that I wasn't like them, that I wasn't normal. And I also got picked last often when it came to playing team sports in the recess times and in school playground activities. So ultimately, I hated school. And I did everything I could to stay small and unnoticed. Eventually, I stopped going outside to play because I decided to volunteer as a first aid helper to avoid interacting with other kids. And at nighttime, I would pray. I would pray to God to make me smarter and make me more like them. I went to these special needs classes until I graduated high school. By the time I was a young adult, those daily walks sure did plant some giant seeds of self doubt in my mind, seeds that swirled and grew into a forest of limiting beliefs. And so my limiting beliefs sounded something like this: I'm not smart enough. I certainly don't fit in. I must not be good enough. And therefore, I am unlovable and unworthy. And these beliefs took root so deeply that even after graduating high school, I struggled to see any potential for success in my life. I ended up riddled with depression, low self esteem, and zero confidence. And these stories became constant companions of mine. But here's the thing: I'm not saying this for sympathy or pity. I'm not sharing this to play the victim consciousness out. I'm sharing this because healing starts with owning your stories. I'm sharing this so that another layer of healing is available and I can be free from the I'm not smart enough thoughts that still creep in once in a while by being seen and witnessed in it. I'm sharing this because it's possible to unlock yourselves, myself, from the crippling power of limiting beliefs, leaving us stuck playing to the victim of our own lives. I know this is where I lived so many decades of my life, in this victim consciousness. One of my mentors often says, you cannot heal from something you have not owned. And so I am so grateful to have coaches and community in my corner to give me the support when my stuff comes up, when my stories come up, when my limiting beliefs are rearing their heads. And I absolutely love the 3-step process that I created to help my clients work through their own limiting beliefs that are blocking them from thriving in the next level of their careers and their relationships. Moving out of this victim consciousness and into being the creator is all about taking ownership and acceptance, saying, yes, you know what? This happened. This is a past experience, and I've accepted this as a part of my life, as my soul's journey. And therefore, in this place of acceptance and ownership, it doesn't have power over me anymore. We get to own it. We get to take our power back, and we get to start to dismantle that energy that's living in our bodies. And I also want you to know that growth doesn't stop. It's constant. We're always constantly learning and growing. And that's simply because we're human. And just because you get to a certain level doesn't mean that there's not an opportunity to keep up leveling. And so, however you decide to walk your path, like maybe right now you're walking your path from a place of fear or anger or resentment, which in my opinion is a lot harder. Or you can walk your path with compassion and healing and acceptance. And in my opinion, it's a lot easier with support, with someone in your corner. Now, my title is Nervous System and Trauma Master Coach, and this is true. And your title might be something like CEO or business owner or teacher, lawyer, engineer, dentist, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what our identity is in our labeling, in our careers, or as humans. Maybe you're a mother, a sister, a daughter, an aunt, whatever that is. Bottom line is, we are still human beings. And our soul signed up for a particular journey that we as humans can't see the whole picture. So, wherever you're at on your journey, whether you are new to this work, or maybe you're diving into your inner child work or reparenting yourself, or maybe you are healing from heartache, grief, death, divorce, whatever chapter you're in, the invitation is to go deeper, to allow yourself to keep going deeper. The deeper the roots are, the taller your tree grows and the bigger the life you can actually hold. If we want a bigger life, we have to expand our capacity. And what I mean by capacity is mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and energetically expansion, because that's the only way to hold what you say you want, what I say I want. And this happens when we say yes to the learning and the healing mindset. This work has allowed me to grow and grow and grow. Like, I mean, ridiculously beyond what I ever thought was possible. When I share with people that I used to be so pessimistic and cynical, they're like, how is that even possible, Amie? I can't even imagine you being like that. This is because I keep doing the work. I keep leveling up. And yes, sometimes it's painful. That walk of shame did not feel good. And I did it every day and I survived just like you. I would imagine if you're still listening to this, then you're pretty dang resilient. You've gone through some things and you've made your way to the other side. And so I absolutely know without a shadow of a doubt that you deserve to feel vibrant in your life, energized in your life, satisfied in your life. And so you might be wondering, well, Amie, how do I even recognize if there's blocks? How do I even know? So I'm going to share with you a few telltale signs so that you can get to know yourself a little deeper and to be like, oh, wow, there's something there. And you might even know there's already something there and you've been in a state of denial. So I invite you to ask yourself a few questions. The first one is to focus on a familiar emotional reaction that you may have when you talk to a certain person or experience a certain thing. It might feel like overwhelm. It might feel like fear or even shame. And when that happens, notice what happens in your body. How does your body respond? Do you get tight in your jaw? Do you get tension in your shoulders or a knot in your stomach? This is your body communicating with you. And this is such good information. Now, when that happens, feel the feeling without changing it. Simply feel and be with it. And then ask yourself, is there something here? Is there a belief that goes with this feeling? The more awareness you have, the more curious you become, the easier it gets to start to work through these limiting beliefs that could be blocking you from the love of your life or that dream career job. Like it could be blocking you from so many things that we can't even see yet. For me, those seeds that I was talking about, they took root and they grew a forest of limiting beliefs. I was living under an assumption that I was stupid, that I would never be smart enough to have a successful career, to run a powerful, successful business. These were constantly running, and I was not aware of them for most of my life until I started my coaching business. That's when they surfaced because I was up leveling and stretching outside my comfort zone to follow my bliss, to follow the yes that was on my heart. And you see, our brains, they are designed to scan for danger, to keep us safe and small and in a bubble of what feels familiar, to avoid anything at all cost, even if it's costing us suffering and dissatisfaction with life. It's designed to look for evidence, this wild evidence of why starting a new career is a bad idea, or walking away from that unhealthy relationship is too hard or complicated, and it'll keep you trapped. Your brain will find proof. That's its one job, to find proof, to stay small. If you've ever experienced something similar as I'm sharing today, and you are tired of feeling this pit in your stomach like I was, then there's something more that you want in life. This is you saying, hey, let's go, let's level up. And whether you're sure or unsure of what those blocks are, it doesn't matter. You get to listen to that ache on your heart, that knocking at the door, the tap on your shoulder, if you will. I know for me, those thoughts were playing like a broken record on repeat. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I can't do it. This is impossible. All the stories, right? It was literally a broken record that was driving me nuts. And I want you to know that I understand. I want you to know that I get it. And you get to change that right now if you choose to. Please jump on over to my IG, Amie Barsky Coaching, and DM me. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation to see what's possible. You get to have a cheerleader in your corner. You get to have someone supporting you like I have. Yeah, you do. You deserve that. Whether it's right now or tomorrow, you'll know. You'll know when it's time. And I know I said earlier, there's never going to be a right time, but you're going to feel an ache in your heart. You're going to feel that tap. You're going to feel that nudge. Listen to it. Listen to what your soul's wanting of you, because our soul is meant to evolve. That's its one job. As much as your brain has that one job to keep you safe, your soul is meant to evolve. So I'm here. please reach out. Let me know how I can serve and support you. Know that you're not alone. And most importantly, please know that you matter. You matter to me. You matter to this world. And that you are so, so, so loved. So thank you for listening to this. Thank you for allowing me to share my journey with you. And until next time, I just want to wrap you in a big, fat, juicy hug. Thank you, my friend. Have a beautiful day. We'll see you soon.